It's the college football betting show. It's Tuesday. I'm Lawrence Presman, the Prez, co-founder of Wager Talk Media. Teddy Covers with us, Dave Cokin with us. We're talking college football. It's an exciting week. Big games on tap. We're going to just get right into it. Dave, let's talk about the behemoth, if you will. Alabama -6, a total of 65. Hosting an 8-0 LSU team. This game should be an absolute doozy. What are you liking it, my friend?
So, and a little caveat here. I'm a little behind this week in college football. I haven't posted any plays yet. And the reason for that is college basketball. It's just so much work to do this past weekend, getting lined up for the start of the season. So I'm a little behind in college football. But looking at this game, look, Tua isn't healthy. I mean, he just isn't. According to, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm going on what those who know sports injuries are saying, is that he can't be 100%. And he might not even be that close to 100%. That's a big factor in this game. I mean, the backup did very well last week in an easy game against Arkansas, which can't play at all. Well, that was 2 weeks ago. And obviously they haven't played since then. I can't be confident laying points with Alabama with a compromised Tua at quarterback. Maybe he is Superman, and maybe he comes out there and looks sensational in this game. But LSU's won the stats in every game, which is not a surprise. And they do match up pretty well with Alabama. So my initial take here is LSU plus the points.
Yeah, and Teddy, I mean, LSU's already had some signature wins this year. Is this going to be another?
It might well be. I'm with Dave 100%. The only way I'm looking is taking points with LSU. I don't feel like Alabama is going to be playing for the national title this year. And if you take out preseason expectations, these two teams are basically even. So the Crimson Tide turned the ball over 3 times in the opener against Duke. In 7 games since, they've turned the ball over 4 times. Now they're playing a real defense. Look who they play. South Carolina, Southern Miss, Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas. I guess their toughest opponent's A&M. We've seen LSU play Florida's defense. We've seen them face Auburn's defense. We've seen them come away moving the football in those games, avoiding turnovers in those games. Now, both of those came at home as opposed to in a hostile environment, but I'm an LSU believer. I would not be surprised to see the Tigers win this game straight up.
He's Teddy Covers, Dave Cokin. Both of them you can find at wagertalk.com. Dave, you're 62% in college football. You're rolling in NHL. You're great in college basketball. You've had a really, really good few months of betting. Teddy, great start to November. 7-2 in November. And guys, let's not forget, Teddy's September was ridiculous as well. So, Teddy, you're at the beginning of a nice run. Both of them, guys, $20 off of a week of their plays. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, for Dave Cokin, use the promo code DAVEALL79. And for Teddy, TeddyAll79. We are tracking these coupon codes, so Teddy79 and Dave79 was already used. In 3 weeks, the promo codes are going to be like DCO XYZ12379 because we're going to bloody well.
I'll make up my own codes. I'll come up with good codes.
Okay, Dave, make your own codes up, baby. You can code me all day, baby. Teddy, Oklahoma, ranked 8th on the season, 7-1. They're playing Iowa State. They're -14.5 with a total of 67. I'll go to you first this time. Where are you going in this game?
Iowa State plus the points, to me, is the only way I'm going to look in this contest. We look at the series history, and we've seen Iowa State giving Oklahoma all kinds of troubles in each of the last 3 meetings. And I wouldn't be expect to see them all kinds of trouble here in the 4th meeting as well. For as good as this Sooners offense is, Iowa State's got as good a defense as they've seen all year. And We've seen last time they were here, Iowa State won the game straight up. I'm a little bit surprised by the amount of Oklahoma money that's coming. I'm sure some of it's situational. The Sooners extra time to prep and all that, but both the series history and the matchups point me pretty cleanly on the Iowa State side here. And of course, the money's coming the other direction in early week betting. Sooners taking money. So I'm biding my time. I expect to get to the window with the Cyclones before this week is done. Once the line stops climbing, and then it's time to get on board.
Dave, you with me?
I lean Oklahoma in the game, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. One is my number in the game is I made it 15.5, so there's a slight edge to Oklahoma. The other thing, and this is now something that I will be factoring in, Oklahoma, because they took that loss, they now become a team that needs style points. Now, you can't count on them always getting them because it depends on the position of the game, but they're going to have to get some help and do some convincing to get back into the playoffs. Even with one loss, they're going to need some help. If they get a chance to pile one on at the end of the game, they will. And that does enter into my analysis late in the season with powerhouse college football teams. I lean Oklahoma here, and I actually don't think it's a great matchup for Iowa State. They're so reliant on Purdy, and if Oklahoma can at least take some of his stuff away, I don't know what Iowa State does. That's a question. Oklahoma's defense is not the best, but I think the Sooners might be the right side here.
A real interesting game in Minnesota. I mean, this Minnesota team has played outstanding all year. They are 8-0. They're hosting Penn State, who is also 8-0 and ranked number 5, so right on the cusp. Minnesota finds himself at plus 6.5 with a total of 47.5. Dave, I'll go to you first. This game is just so crucial for both of these teams. Loser and they're out of playoff contention.
Yep. Look, I'm convinced on Minnesota. I think they are this good, and I think the line's a little bit high here on reputation. Now, Penn State's been in these spots before. Minnesota hasn't, so you can say the experience, the big game experience edge is on the Penn State side. But I think this is a field goal game. One possession, and I think it's a close possession. And in those types of games, if I'm getting almost a touchdown, I'm going to be taken. And Minnesota is a candidate to make my card this week.
I'm with you 100%, Dave. And when we look at Penn State on the highway in particular, they had that one blowout win at Maryland. They couldn't move the football against Iowa, 308 yards in that game. They couldn't move the football against Sparty, 307 yards in that game. They were able to win and cover those games because of a +5 turnover margin in those two games combined. But this is not an offense that's marching up and down the field. And I'm not laying a touchdown against an undefeated team who's playing. Minnesota still hasn't gotten the respect that they deserve from the betting markets. This line is showing it. There's still this thought from Minnesota that this team's a fraud, and all right, well, PJ Fleck is distracted by the Florida State job or some nonsense. I'm not buying it. With Dave, I am a Golden Gophers believer. They've covered 5 in a row. My concern here is that Minnesota has been laying points in every game this season. They have not stepped up in class. Their toughest opponent was what? Illinois? Nebraska? So from a step up in class standpoint, I am concerned about the Gophers here, but you can only play the teams that are on your schedule. We can't downgrade Minnesota because they haven't played anyone tough. Maybe we upgrade them after they beat Penn State this week.
We downgraded Alabama.
No, we didn't downgrade Alabama.
Well, Teddy, we spoke about the strength of schedule, but listen.
No, I understand that, but
Dave, quick question.
What?
Do you have lights to shine on your green screen?
No, I can do this.
I wonder why your green screen is blurry. It normally isn't, but it doesn't matter because you're not blurry.
I don't know. Maybe I've got the background blurred. I don't know.
Yeah. You got to have the background blurred on.
I think that's probably it. Let me
matter,
check.
Dave. You're perfectly clear.
All right. I probably did that accidentally. I probably blurred the background.
Teddy, Dave, Georgia, beautiful win last week. Now they're ranked 6th. They need to win out. They're hosting Mizzou. Dave, Georgia's -17. The total is 47 in this game. Where are we going, brother?
I don't want Missouri. They, you can say, well, this is one of the games Missouri will have circled because, they don't have anything to play for really with the bowl ban. I don't know. They just showed so little in their last couple of games, and now they're back on the road again, and Georgia has got to be coming out of that game feeling really good and excited. I thought it was a very good performance by Georgia against a terrific Florida team. And the quarterback got hot, really hot. So I got a feeling this one might get out of hand.
Teddy, you with Dave on this? Blowout Georgia?
I know I don't want Missouri. And again, we've seen them play 3 road games. They lost at Wyoming as 15.5-point chalk. And, tons of mistakes in that game. And then against Vandy and Kentucky, they combined for a total of 21 points. Failed to get to 300 yards of offense in either game. If Georgia's interested and focused, they'll annihilate this team. Kelly Bryant not 100% for Missouri as well. That's at least part of the reason why we've seen as much Georgia money as we have early in the week.
Guys, we're looking to hire a web designer over at Wager Talk Media. We put it up on Indeed, and Jesus, I wake up and there's like 200 applications a day coming in. And I got my phone on, when I get the notifications, stop. Please, people, stop. It's unbelievable how many people have applied for this job. And yes, we are looking at all applications, and we will get back to everybody.
Have you checked out mine yet?
Yeah, your application we checked out. We actually checked it out. Like we checked it out of the computer.
Let me tell you something. Look at that beautiful background I designed. That's nice and blurry.
Listen, everybody needs a one-eyed web designer.
and the one eye is not that hot either.
And I could already see the customers. Everyone needs a one-eyed web designer. Ha ha, line of the show. Teddy.
No, they're not going to say
They do
that.
every week. Every time I comment about your one eye, because last week I said I wouldn't watch that team with your one eye. Like 7 people commented. Guys, we're going to do a promo change, scroll change. So don't forget, if you want 1 week of Teddy, it's Teddy All 79, TEDDYALL 79. And if you want a week of Dave Cokin, it's Dave All 79. Promo change to the Prez, and there we go. I'm on a 5-1 and 27-12 all sports run. 10-3 NFL run, 11-4 hockey run, started the NBA 2-1, refused to mention college football, but you can get 1 week of all my plays for the same $79 as you're paying for Dave and Teddy. My promo code is a little bit more normal, Prez79. Wisconsin, guys, 6-2 on the season, -9.5, Dave. Playing against 18th ranked Iowa, who are also 6-2 on the season. Over and under is 38. The line is 1/4 of the total here, Dave. Do you take that type of thing into account?
No, because I don't look at totals. I don't give a shit about them.
Okay, Dave, we know.
I for the 85th time this season, I don't do totals because I'm not good at them. So I just don't bother with them. I stick to sides. And with 3 straight years of 62% plus since I joined Wager Talk in college football, I think that's okay. I have the right strategy for me. I lean Iowa in this football. I lean Wisconsin in this football game. They need a good performance. And the bye week should help them. You got to flush out what's taking place. There's still plenty to play for. They're not going to make the playoffs, obviously, but there's still plenty to play for Wisconsin. I just don't like this Iowa team very much. It's just typical Ferentz. Just stodgy offense. Stanley, who looked like he might be improving coming into this season, really hasn't. I think Wisconsin eventually gets them by double figures.
Teddy, before I ask you about this important Wisconsin game, am I taking you shopping in Vegas again?
I hope
Oh,
not.
thank God.
Yeah. That's something for the summertime, dude. November is like finals week, but it goes on for a month. All right, because it's you finish one sport, you move on to the next. You finish one sport, you move on to the next. It's not a time where like, hey, let's go shopping for some new outfits. I did that before the start of the season. I appreciate your help over the summer. Look, this shirt, this jacket, that all came from the shopping spree that we went on over the summer. But that's not something that we do in November. November, this is what we do, Prez. We work.
I'm going to head over to the thrift store to see if I can find some new threads myself.
Yeah, and that's why he's Dave Cokin. Teddy, what do you like in this Wisconsin-Iowa game?
I know I don't want to lay with Wisconsin. You're asking about the total, by the way, with the total sitting at 38.
The reason I ask that, Teddy, is we all remember fondly the late great Dave Malinsky, and Dave worked for me many years ago on the site I owned Who to Bet on, and it was one of the things that Dave really did actually take into account. He used to speak a lot about how the side and total are related to each other, and when it gets really tight, it becomes very interesting. I just can't remember, because it was like 15 years ago, whether he liked what he liked as a result of it, but I know that he used to study that type of stuff.
Well, sure. I mean, when you talk about a total in this range, the basic question comes is, can Iowa score against this defense? That's the number one question. It's an Iowa team that got 3 on the road against Michigan. Against Penn State, they did punch in one, but they couldn't get the 2-point conversion, so they got 12 in that game. Iowa State, they got 18 against. It's not an offense that has been able to move the football at any point this season against the better defenses that they've faced. All that said, defensively, they're solid. And Wisconsin, with that big start to the season where they blew out 6 straight teams at home to open up the campaign. Well, 5 of the 6. They didn't blow out Northwestern. But they were an overvalued commodity. The fact they've lost back-to-back, and now it's like, all right, we've had the bye, and we're playing a team we're supposed to beat. That's fine. This is not an explosive offense. And if you stop Jonathan Taylor, Cohen's not going to beat you, and not going to beat you to win by double digits. So I would look at the Iowa side here before I had any interest in laying points with the Badgers, even with Wisconsin having a chance to recuperate coming off their bye week.
Guys, I got a 5-unit play up for Tuesday. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, it's $2 Tuesday over at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. And I have a 5-unit NHL play that you guys could have for half price. I use the promo code Prez NHL20, Prez NHL20, and of course you can get a week of all my plays for $79. Promo code Prez79. Guys, it's time for quick takes. 10, 15 seconds each. Race through this. 10 games. USF +1 versus Temple. Total 49.5. Dave, go.
Not much. South Florida's shown some signs of life lately, but I think Temple's still the better team.
Teddy.
Yeah, I definitely think Temple's the better team here. And after getting wiped out by SMU and Central Florida their last 2 games, coming off a bye, I would absolutely expect a pretty strong bounce back from the Temple Owls, who were playing solid football prior to that 2-game skid against 2 explosive offenses. I don't look at USF as a team likely to march the ball up and down the field against a Temple defense. And even if they do, that Temple red zone defense has been tremendous all season prior to those last 2 games against the explosive offenses that they faced. Lean Temple.
Dave, Washington on the road playing Oregon State. Washington is -10. Where are you going in this game?
Yeah, Oregon State's a really good story. They're up to 4-4 now, and great win for them over the weekend at Arizona. I don't know what Washington team. See, I don't like games like this because you got to guess at which Washington team's going to show up. If Washington doesn't care, then Oregon State's got a good chance of the game. But if Washington comes out ready to play, they're just too good in terms of the matchups against Oregon State. So I don't like guessing at that stuff. So pass.
Teddy.
Oh, I could only take the dog in this one. Look. Washington losing to Stanford, then losing to Oregon, and the way they lost to Utah last week where they punched them, and they had Utah on the ropes.
We all bet Utah. Utah was a huge play for the Wager Talk family.
Okay, I didn't bet them, so I didn't
either.
But they ended up being the right side in that ball game, and the way that it went down, now the fourth loss of the season for Washington. I'm not convinced they bounce back here. I'm not convinced that they're a team that I'm comfortable laying doubles on the road in this spot. And Oregon State, they have issues, all right? And we've seen them get wiped out at home by Utah when Utah was playing defense. And, that game was as ugly as it gets if you had the Beavers. But that's it. And they were able to move the football against Cal and win on the road at Cal. I would only take Oregon State plus in this one.
Dave, Virginia Tech +2 hosting, and you mentioned a surprise. This Wake Forest team, 7-1 on the season, total 6.
No, they're good. They're a good team.
Yeah,
you don't need to do an elongated intro in every game. Obviously, just throw the game. This is supposed to be the fast part, so just throw out the game and we can talk about it. Okay. Virginia Tech's in a tough spot here, coming out of the game against Notre Dame. I mean, that was a great effort. Tough way to lose. I think Wake Forest is in a much better situation here. So lean Demon Deacons.
Teddy?
Yeah, I really worry about Virginia Tech's ability to get up for this ballgame. And if they do, we give them a heck of a lot of credit because they put everything into last week's game. And the way that it went down, and not that they were the right side, but they had a chance to beat Notre Dame in South Bend. And, when you have a 96-yard fumble return touchdowns, and it goes a long way towards covering numbers. But the fact is they gained 240 yards of offense in that ballgame. They just suffered a crushing defeat, and they're not any interest in back this week. It's Wake Forest or pass.
The Hokies quarterback was terrible.
Dave, Duke +8.
They just can't match up with Notre Dame. But this falls into the category of, does Notre Dame care? Well, they managed to come back and get that win against Virginia Tech. I think that will give them a little push here. They still have some good stuff out there. They can still make a major bowl game, if not the playoffs, obviously. I don't think Duke can stay with them for 60 minutes.
Teddy?
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm disappointed. I was considering a bet on Notre Dame at -6, and I sat on it, and then now it's -8. Oops. So that probably takes them off my card for this week. But in the step-up in class games, Duke gets outclassed, and it's just that simple. And we've seen it already a couple of times this year. This feels like I do worry about the spot for the Irish. Bad loss and hard-fought win, and now you got to lay points on the highway against a team that's rested and ready and coming for you. But I can understand why the money's come on Notre Dame. I think there is a bit of a class difference between these two teams.
Guys, scroll change, last promotion of the show, and the best promotion we have going over at Wager Talk right now, Carmine Bianco. Dave, we spoke about Carmine during the NHL Puck Time show. Teddy, I don't know if you know this, but Carmine is on an 18-3 hockey run, an 18-3 hockey run. He did the same thing last year. It's actually ridiculous. You guys can get $150, $150 off of his NHL package until the All-Star break. Just head over to wagertalk.com and use the promo code CARM350. Dave, Miami against Louisville.
It's a tough game. My numbers do favor Miami, though. I'm not comfortable laying points with them, and they're coming out of the rivalry win against Florida State. So the situation favors Louisville, but I basically don't go against my numbers, and my numbers definitely point to Miami here.
Teddy?
Yeah, from a defensive standpoint, there's no comparison between these two teams. The question is whether Louisville's offense is good enough to move the ball against this defense, and whether we see Miami in a bit of a letdown spot, something they've been vulnerable to in recent seasons. And this season, they certainly haven't been a team that has been able to put together extended winning streaks by margin. And back-to-back wins for the Canes, 3 in their last 4. I don't need one win to clinch bowl eligibility, but of course they have Florida International and Duke coming up on deck. Not a game that I have a strong take on, Lawrence. One that'll probably be a pass for me.
Dave, I can't lay 15 with Michigan State.
Nope.
Where are you going in this game?
Same thing. I'm not laying 2 touchdowns with Michigan State. Illinois is feeling good about themselves right now. Now, Lovie Smith's got them playing good football.
And Dave, I want to ask you, because I can't understand why the money's coming on the Spartans. And usually I can understand why the money's coming one way or the other. Is it Michigan State off a bye and now everything's supposed to be fine?
We've seen this before. We've seen this before with Michigan State, year after year, where they prove attractive to the market, despite the fact that they suck as big favorites. I don't get it.
Yeah. Illinois has been a nice moneymaker for my clients and I in recent weeks. I had them in the Purdue game. That was as easy as it gets, and I may well get back to the window with them in East Lansing on Saturday. I'm very surprised by this line move. I'll just leave it at that. And spot-wise, you understand it. Sparty coming off a bye and a couple of losses. Illinois coming off 3 straight wins and 1 away from bowl eligibility. But all that said, too many points.
So I've had some people say, Prez, why are you on your phone when you're doing radio shows? Aren't you listening? Well, firstly, I'm usually only on my phone when Teddy talks, not when Dave talks. And secondly, I have 4 shows back to back. We're just running a little late, so I have to text the guys for the next show to tell them 5 minutes. So my apologies, not being rude to Dave Cokin. USC plus 1.5. Dave?
Yeah, the line changed in this game because USC opened the favorite. And I don't know why they did, because Arizona State looks like the right side in this football game. I think the game's more important to them. I think they've got the scheduling dynamics on their side. Yeah, I think Arizona State does deserve the favorites role in this game.
Teddy?
And I wasn't... Which was it? Lane Kiffin who was fired coming on the tarmac, coming home off a loss to Arizona State for USC. Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah. They fired Kiffin literally on the plane or on the tarmac, and we could see that for Clay Helton this week. That was a bad loss for USC against Oregon last week, and but the market's responding to that obviously with some pretty heavy money towards the Sun Devils here. And it's not like Arizona State's loaded. Defensively, they've shown cracks in recent weeks, and that does concern me against a USC offense that has a fair bit of explosiveness.
How about Baylor? This season has been outstanding for them. 8-0 on the road, -1 against TCU. Dave?
I don't know. I don't even want to give an opinion on the game because I have no idea.
Okay.
So this is a flat-out pass.
Teddy?
And see, Baylor, the markets aren't giving Baylor respect. We saw the money come against them in the Kansas State game. We saw the money come against them in the Oklahoma State game. When they leave home, we've seen a Bears team that the markets are saying, yeah, they're good, but they're not that good. They're not going to go undefeated. And we've seen pretty steady money come against them. And look at this line, where you say TCU's not any good. Baylor's 8. And like TCU's awful. Last time at home, they beat Texas, and they beat them pretty soundly in that contest. The only home game they lost all year was the game against SMU. That came early, and that was a back-and-forth affair where turnovers were the bigger deal. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing the market respect for TCU here, although I got to think the money will come to the other side.
Dave, speaking of Texas, they're -7 against a mighty fine Kansas State team who must be feeling really good about themselves. What do you like?
I think I like Kansas State. They're rolling. They're rolling. And, and they can play some defense. And the Skylar Thompson kid is on fire right now. I'm not buying Texas. I thought they were overrated all season long. So I got that right. And I still think they're overrated. Well, not as much overrated as they've been because the number's not that much here. But I don't see any reason Kansas State can't go on the road and win this.
Teddy?
From a spot standpoint, I don't love this for K-State. You're coming off the huge win against Oklahoma, then you blow out your arch rival, and now you got to go back-to-back road games against a Texas team coming off a loss and a bye. And I understand
that's my argument. Mm-hmm. I understand the scheduling dynamics, but that's assuming that Texas is a really good team. And they're not. So the loss in the bye, we could. This is a good debate game because I don't think it's a good spot. I think all the hopes and dreams for Texas, which were pretty big at the start of the season, have now been completely shattered. I'd rather have a team that's got positive momentum than a team that, at this point, Texas is almost playing out the string.
I mean, and the Longhorns defense hasn't been any good. They've given up 30 to everyone except for Rice and La Tech that they played this year. Every Big 12 opponent has scored 30 plus, and it's hard to lay points with a team that's allowing 30 plus every week. All that being said, Texas lost the turnover battle by 2 against Kansas. They lost the turnover battle by 2 against TCU. When they're not losing the turnover battle, they're winning games and winning them by margin. I'm not as down on the Longhorns as you are, Dave. I think that there's potential for Texas to be a moneymaker in November.
Could be. I don't know. I mean, I go back to the Kansas game. Kansas can't play, okay? It's a nice story. Les Miles has, made them respectable. They've been lucky. Okay? They took Texas to the wire and lost by 2. The Texas Tech game was a complete fluke. I mean, they hit 5 plays of more than 50 yards in the game. They actually got blown out in the game they won. And then last week, they got murdered by Kansas State. Absolutely murdered in that football game. They stink. Okay, and Texas, they're just not that good. I haven't played a thing yet in college football, but I had a pretty good feeling Kansas State will be on my card.
Boise hosting Wyoming. Literally, just give me the word, Dave. Teddy.
It's a tough game. No, Wyoming is so stingy with their rush defense that they've got a chance to force Boise to throw the ball, and Boise isn't as good when they've got the kid back now. He's healthy. But I don't know about this number, and Boise just isn't convincing me. I think Wyoming might give them a game.
Teddy?
Agree wholeheartedly. And it hasn't been a super competitive series. Boise's been able to move the football against Wyoming in years past, which does concern me here against that Cowboys, the Cowboys defense that we're counting on to get stops, because this is a game where side and total are absolutely related. If Wyoming's going to cover this game, it's staying under. Wyoming will not cover against Boise in a shootout.
He's Teddy Covers, Dave Cokin, and me. I'm the Prez. All 3 of us are found at wagertalk.com. You can get a week $20 off all 3 of our plays. Dave, all 79. Teddy, all 79. Prez, 79. Guys, outstanding show. Dave, you'll be on Puck Time Thursday. Carmine Bianco is hosting it. You're on Betting Edge tomorrow. Joe Ranieri is hosting it. Teddy, I will see you in studio tomorrow. We're doing a show together. Be nice. I'm the Prez. I'm out.